and good morning from Cologne, Germany. We are here for the Intel Extreme Masters in Season 10 for a StarCraft 2 tournament, the second StarCraft 2 tournament of the season so far. Previously, we're in Shenzhen, China. Now, we're in Cologne, Germany to continue our pathway to the World Championship held later on next year. Joining me on the desk to start things off is Moonglade and Pig. Who would have thought two Aussies and a Brit were going to open up this show?
No, it's a great thing, man. It's a beautiful thing to be here once again. And yeah, you know, us two Aussies, we failed as pro gamers, so we decided to jump ship to the casting side. And so far, so good.
So far, so good, Pig. Second Intel Extreme Masters tournament in a row here on the casting desk.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure getting flown all over the world, treated like royalty.
Nice 27-hour flight, 28-hour flight.
Yeah, it's beautiful, you know. It's just some time to relax, catch up on some movies. Now I get to come here and watch some StarCraft players. Like, I mean, what more could you want?
What more could you want? I mean, maybe if you had Wi-Fi in the airplanes and could continue watching more StarCraft on your way over, Pig.
Yeah, I gotta get on those Korean Airlines flights, man. You know they got Brood War VODs like built into your entertainment system.
No, they don't.
They do,
I don't think they do, man.
I don't think they do.
I think you're lying.
Check out the sports tab. Check out the sports tab.
I'll check it out next time. I mean, I'm flying from Korea all the time. I haven't seen that.
Oh, you got to look at it on your way back.
Well, I'm on Asiana this time. I don't know if that has anything to do
if
with...
anyone knows if Pig's telling the truth or not, you let us know.
Totally lying.
I don't know about that.
That's an honest face.
But one thing that we're going to be very honest and very good about these next few days is, of course, 5 days of StarCraft 2 action. It's a long tournament, it's a big one, but we're prepared, we're all very excited to continue our pathway through the Intel Extreme Masters Season 10. Today, we're starting with the Open Brackets. We'll be playing Open Bracket 1 and Open Bracket 2 to find out which players will make it into group stages which start tomorrow. As Group A and Group B will be played and completed, and then Friday will be Group C and D, and the weekend, it's time for the playoffs. Saturday, we'll play every single quarterfinal, best of 5, back to back to back to back, before moving to Sunday, which is the semi-finals and grand finals, where we move to Gamescom to play live in the Messe Arena here in Cologne. Lots of action, 5 days.
It's a long tournament. It's one of the longest ones we've had, especially for an Intel Extreme Masters. It's kind of exciting and good to be here. And the Open Brackets are looking very fun as well.
Yeah, the Open Brackets are fantastic. And we'll be finding out who can qualify into group stages here, Pig, as we have Groups A to Group D with players already in there, not fully completed yet, of course, as we do look for Open Bracket players. But here they are so far, as Group A has Sue, Happy, and MMA. A great start to the Intel Extreme Masters group stage, of course, played out tomorrow. Group B has Innovation, comes over to Europe again, Lilbo and Fantasy. Group C, State Lambo and 4GG. With Group D, with the 2 slots available, because unfortunately Rain couldn't make it to play in this tournament, had to pull out last minute. And Stardust and Nurture sitting there waiting. A great set of players, Moonglade.
Fantastic. I'm really excited for that Group B. That's already so stacked, and someone coming from the Open Bracket is going to get ridiculous. So I'm really looking out for that one. But, you know, the first 2 groups get to see those Korean powerhouses, Sue and Innovation, playing ridiculous right now over in Korea.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really exciting to see.
Have to be tournament favorites, those two, right?
Oh,
have
yeah,
to be.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Sue's kind of having his resurgence at the moment. He's the one I'm, as a Zerg player, excited to see. It's like, you know, you see one of your favorite players and they start to slump a little bit and you think, oh, this can't be it, you know. And you look at Sue's like Pro League record, winning Kesper Cup. He's been steamrolling in Korea. So I really want to see what he can do here at an Intel Extreme Masters. I think it's going to be a powerful performance. I think Innovation is the real roadblock that he's going to have to get through.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of Koreans in the tournament. We have one in the Open Bracket too. We can take a look at the Open Bracket now, as we do have 16 players that will be trying to compete to get into the group stages. And here is Open Bracket number 1, and there is that very first and only Korean in the Open Bracket. It is Patience. And then some other names in there for some of you watching at home who may not know the nickname switch. Rail is Verdi, a player that's been around for a very, very long time in StarCraft 2. We have Heromarine and Tarrantius, which is going to be our first game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then towards the bottom there, we have Black Cat and Mana.
Pretty interesting players. Patience definitely the one favored to get out of that group. He's been doing fantastic lately. We saw him over at DreamHack recently as well. But the second player, it's a bit harder to kind of determine. This fantastic. I mean, you got Marine, you got Mana. It's hard to see who's going to be performing today.
Yeah, and you can't forget hashtag Bly on fire. Today could be the day.
Today's the day, man.
You never know. I mean, that bracket, there's a few names you haven't seen kind of doing too many LAN performances, but if you think back a couple of years, you've got when Heromarine was first coming out, you got Bly back when he really was on fire, hitting top 8 in every tournament. I think it's a really unique sort of lineup in that open bracket, and I think Bly, he's going to pull out some cool builds. I mean, the new map pool plus Bly, it's a good combination.
It's going to be a fun day. Of course, we'll be playing open bracket pretty much straight away here, open bracket number 1, but we'll also be playing open bracket number 2, which has another 8 players that are looking to try and make it into the main tournament. Of course, some big names that are going to stand out for you. TLO, Petrit, Drogo's in there. Euthermal, Goody's in the house. I can see him in front of me. Hello, Goody. Good to see you again. And of course, Rhett down there. Some big names. But again, a good set of European talent.
Yeah, I'm definitely favoring Petite Drogo. There's always some speculation of how that's said. I like Pit Drogo myself.
Yeah, Pit Drogo.
Pit Drogo is going to do me.
Oh, Petit Drogo.
Petit Drogo.
People
I like Petit
There was a
Drogo.
Reddit thread about that just yesterday, I think. Pig, you better be careful, man.
Is that I assumed it was Petite, like as in the French petite.
I think someone said that was completely wrong.
So what is it then?
It's Pit Drogo, mate.
Pit Drogo? So we'll...
Silent T.
I like how there's just going to be 3 pronunciations and maybe a 4th and 5th from Todd and Cloris as well later on.
Well, I think Todd should know the most, right? Because
he should, and if he doesn't, it's kind of like you have to assume that Todd's correct, right?
No, well, we'll see about that. We should just ask him at some point. That might be better.
I'm pretty sure I've actually done an interview specifically with him where I asked him this question.
Petite.
And it's just a blank. I can't even remember what he said. Oh. So I may actually have been the guy who asked him how to pronounce it and has been mispronouncing it this entire time. But Drogo's a cool guy. I'm sure he's okay with it.
I really like how Pig just set us up. That's like, no, guys, I had this interview with him at one time, and I got to ask him it, but I forgot the answer.
Good job.
Lots of banter here, hopefully continuing through. Happy to have you here, guys, once again. But before moving on to talk about the first match, we talked a little bit about who we think is going to go through. But if you guys think you're a bit of a wizard at home yourself and know who is going to go through, you can join us in the Fantasy League, as we have another one running for the Intel Extreme Masters. It's at esl.gg/sc2fantasy. You can see the link just below us here, eslgg/sc2fantasy. And you can predict the bracket. So for today with the open brackets, you can predict the full bracket and build it up yourself. All you've got to do is join the league, make a name that everyone's going to be following your team by, and see how well you can do. And we'll match up against ourselves a little bit later on, because we think we're pretty good at this thing. Well, I don't know about you.
I'm amazing at this, actually. I'm very talented. I always do it over in Pro League, and I'm pretty good.
You guys have a bit of a leaderboard going, right? And I think you're at the top of it, or near the top?
Yeah. Generally, I'm usually around the top, but maybe not at the moment. You get a little unlucky sometimes, but yeah, I'm doing pretty fine.
Do Brendan and Wolf copy you a lot of the time?
All the time. They're probably watching right now, and yeah, they copy all the time.
Let's move forward then to start talking about our first match, because it is going to be Heromarine versus Tarrantius. And our first player is going to be Tarrantius here, who's up just behind us. A player who's been around for a very, very long time here. He's 24 years old. And what are we expecting from him today?
Oh, Tarrantius is a bit of a wild card in that we haven't seen too much of his play recently. But if we look at his match history, he took down Heromarine in a 2-0 just about 1 month ago in Meisterschaft, of course, which is the EPS here in Germany. Very impressive win. And we were just speaking to him just before we went live. And of course, we were reminiscing about how we actually met back in 2012 in Singapore, where he was 1 map off making it out of the group stage into the top 8. So he's had a few pretty good runs in the past.
Yeah, it's a lot of experience behind him, that's for sure. He's definitely the older player as well, and I mean, with that recent win over his opponent, it's definitely going to put him in a very confident place, as well as playing Protoss.
He's never really been as well. I was going to move on to the next point, but I couldn't move forward after that. There's one thing. I mean, he's played in the German national team for a very long time. He's reached a final in the ESL Meisterschaft back in 2013, but he's never really been able to break through into the big international scene. I mean, he played at that International Masters in Singapore, but he's trying to play in WCS for a very, very long time now. Hasn't had the opportunity to play in it, but you think about that and then move on to the next player is Heromarine, who also has been trying to qualify into the WCS for a very, very long time and has finally now broken through and will play in Season 3 Premier League. So Heromarine, comes into this no doubtably as the favorite between the two of them, despite the recent win that Tarrantius did take from him. Heromarine, 18 years old, been around for a very, very long time in Glade.
Yeah, he has. And but I mean, you look at his recent stats, and he's been on a roll. He's been playing fantastic, and getting into Premier like he did recently over Red, I believe it was. Yeah, he's always actually had very impressive TVZ. It's one thing I've always looked at him and been like, wow, that's really, really solid play there. But his TvP is going to be another question. But
he's a massive contender to get out of this open bracket.
Certainly, sir.
I mean, he's been developing his play for a long time, and one of the things I've liked watching him as a younger player is he doesn't just follow the meta blindly. He likes to study the game and really understand it. And you see him commentating at Home Story Cup, sometimes just at Takes Apartment, a lot of the local events, and even on his own stream. He's like one of these really thoughtful players who likes to break down a situation, never really takes anything for granted. So he's always got his own twists on things, his own little builds. So if you're not prepared for exactly how he wants to play, it can get a little bit tricky for you, and I think he's going to be able to adjust very well mid-series as a result of that.
Yeah, you don't think Heromarines more of a predictable player between the two of them here?
I think out of the two of them, he's a little bit more predictable, but I haven't seen much of Tarrantius's play. I think though he's got those little twists. So if you haven't actually studied his way of executing those somewhat predictable styles, you're not going to be exactly used to the way he executes.
Yeah, it's not too much variance in Terran versus Protoss at the moment either. I mean, you see a lot of like Marine mind dropping and kind of gets into the later game. It's pure bio. I guess it's about getting there, which is the problem, and you can mix it up in the early game just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's kind of been going back and forth a bit with the Widow Mine drops. How hard do you commit? There was that 2 or 3 weeks where everyone was like, you just get Widow Mines out as fast as you can, you boost across that map. But we've seen a bit more of the older 3 racks, some CC first, and even in Korea, a couple of 3 CC styles coming back in.
Yeah, certainly a lot more greed these days. Yeah, it has been mixing up a lot. Mario was kind of the guy leading the way with like pure aggression for the longest part, but then he started to get slowed down, and I think a lot of people have a lot of inspiration from him over in Korea, so we'll see what the meta's like today.
All right, I want to see who's going to be the best Australian during this tournament too, between the both of you. So we're going to go straight into the predictions, especially now I've told a bunch of people to go make a fantasy league back at home. I need your guys' input too. So predictions for the first game here before we go to the commentary team. Pig, begin.
Oh, I'm going to be going with a 2-1 there for Heromarine. I think he's going to take it.
That's what I was going to say as well, so I'm just going to go with that, whatever.
All right, well, I'll be tallying this up throughout the weekend to see who's right between the both of you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll be seeing you a little bit more later on. It's time to head to the commentary team. Of course, it is the classic combo of Todd and Kalaris.
Thank you very much, boys. All right, we're getting into our first series of the day here very, very soon between two Germans. What better way to start things off in the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne than having our two Germans face off and butt heads?
Yeah, one of them will advance there and have, I guess, a good chance here to go further and maybe qualify. You said it before, actually. I was recording a short video there, and you were telling me about how we're going to have a few non-Koreans there advancing to the group stage. And it's going to be cool, I guess, to see them evolve there in the tournament. Pretty stacked groups, actually.
Yeah, the groups are very, very stacked. And, you know, the only non-Korean that's in the open brackets is actually Patience. So we will have quite a few advancing forwards. Also with Rain, you know, bowing out of the tournament means that we do have a 5th place decider match between not only open bracket 1 and open bracket 2.
He bowed out of the tournament, is that what he did?
He did. He graciously left his position as GSL champion. He's making tons of money everywhere, so he's fine. He's okay.
So he has too many of it?
You can never have too much money, I suppose. But, you know, I guess he's having a relaxing time. That's for sure. But anyway, between these two players, Tarrantius and Heromarine, both of them obviously playing in the ESL Meisterschaft for quite a while now. And Heromarine, as much as he did advance a little bit further than Tarrantius in the previous season, actually, you know, Tarrantius was able to beat Heromarine in the weeks coming up here in the ESL Meisterschaft weeklies that they do leading up to the finals. So, you know, I don't think it's as cut and dry as just saying, you know, Heromarine, he's doing very well right now. He's in Premier and he's able to, you know, be the true strong component of all of this. I think there could be quite a close series here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The thing is, Heromarine is doing well. So it seems like on paper he's the favorite and Tarrantius is the underdog. But then the race comes into play. And as much as, you know, these guys on the desk, they joke that Tarrantius was Protoss, which is true. I guess he can cheese and try and Protoss his Terran opponents. Heromarine is Terran, man. And Terran is pretty good right now. Jack G beat stats in it was a few days ago, yeah, just very recently, with an SCV pool and a map stolen on Vanny Research Station. So you don't know what can happen, man. It can go wild. And right now, PVT is actually in a weird place, you know, where like on one day it seems like Protoss doing really well. Then you watch another series, it's like, well, Terran just kind of demolished him.
Yeah.
If I feel like it was the same with like Terran versus Zerg a while back, where like you really didn't know what was going on. Like sometimes Terran would look unstoppable, and then next day Zerg. It kind of feels like this right now in Protoss versus Terran.
Well, how does the map pool really kind of sway things here in PvT? Because obviously, you know, in the past WCS seasons, we've seen the previous map pools have, I would say, a little bit more sturdiness and rigidness to the game styles.
Yeah.
But does the current map pool favor a bit more volatility for this kind of matchup?
I think so, because if you try to play too much macro, then as Protoss, I think you're in trouble. Like a lot of third bases are very, very hard to take on these maps.
Yeah.
And like myself as a player who tries to macro a lot, you know, take a third base and stuff, let me tell you, even I started cheating now because it's really, really difficult. So at the same time, if you're against a Terran that's like really solid at scouting and seeing whatever you want to throw at him coming, then it's going to be much harder to make anything work. So we'll see. Heromarine is going to have to be on point here, definitely, because I see Tarrantius as being on the cheesier side of things. But at the same time, I feel like one very good way could go into this series is like if he said, you know what, first game I'm going to fake that I'm cheating, go double forge, quick third, and like play super greedy. And while he's playing defensive, I'm going to pull ahead economically and in upgrades and then win. And then second game, he actually cheeses. That'd be a great way to actually like 2-0 his opponent.
Yeah, I get you. Just really, really throwing in those mind games a little bit there. Obviously, StarCraft does have quite a lot of mind games involved in it, being the strategy game that it is. And then Heromarine on the other side, do you expect anything else other than him to play in a solid manner? I mean, we saw him in WCS Challenger against Rhett, different matchup, of course, but he was really happy to prolong the game, take it longer, and just kind of win in the later stages.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see him, you know, play most of the time, you know, like fairly standard, not really afraid to go up to 3 bases.
Yeah.
But against Protoss at the same time, if you play it really passively and like, you know, you take a 4th base, like you're going to ghost and stuff, it's going to be really hard to actually like properly make it work. So you might not even have to think about this, because I feel like Tarrantius is definitely going to be the one to try some stuff. But if Tarrantius was somehow to, you know, play macro, take a 3rd base, play Blink Colossus into like Double Forge, High Templar, then Heromarine is going to have to find a few windows to really do some damage with drops or multi-pronged attack. Because if he doesn't, he's going to be in trouble, I think.
All right. Well, we have a few issues here that we're just trying to solve before we get into the game. So we're going to go to a short break. And when we are back, we are going to start things with Heromarine going up against Tarrantius. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom here, as we're going to be jumping into our first series very, very soon between Heromarine and Tarrantius. And as I said before, both of them in the German scene, risen up the ranks quite a lot. I would say more so Heromarine than Tarrantius, who has, you know, had a bit of a dry spell in terms of results, or never really kind of hit the heights that Heromarine has. And a lot of people look to Heromarine, especially going into the next season of Premier League, as one of the young hopefuls here in the European scene.
Yeah, it's been looked at in this way for a very long time, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And, kind of disappointed at times, but lately it seems like he's really, I guess, come back in form and doing really well for himself. So if he was to be Tarrantius there, next round would be the semi-finals there of this open bracket, and then he'd face either Black Cat or Mana. So definitely doable as well, I think, if he wins.
Yeah, and if he did play against Mana, that would be a rematch of a rematch from WCS Challenger. So that one would certainly be a fantastic result to actually follow on through.
A rematch of a rematch.
A rematch of a rematch.
Talk about storylines there, Carlos.
It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, well, we're getting into our first game here in this best of 3, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. It will be our blue Protoss representing Planet Key Dynamics. It is Tarrantius. And up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Terran. Representing Team e.sport, it is Heromarine.
It's going to be interesting to see what both players here open with. And in particular Tarrantius, because I think that Heromarine, well, no matter what he opens with, it's going to be, you know, a quick command center and like some standard expand, whereas Tarrantius definitely a lot more of a wild card in terms of whether he wants to open for something very cheesy or even take it a little bit slower before we go into a cheese, or even try for some surprise macro, because I really expect him to play fairly aggressive there.
And at least, you know, going into this series, to start things off, we see them on a map like Coda, which is a bit more of common ground, you know? But, well, the gateway is already on the way, and we will have that probe moving across very quickly.
You're going to unleash the power within, Kailas.
Tarrantius is going to have to unleash that power within, man, if he wants to beat Marine, Heromarine. But again, you know, to mention what I did before...
Look at this, double gas already.
Yeah, this is quite quick to say the least. But he did beat him recently, July the 7th, I believe it was, in one of the Meisterschaft Cups. So, what are you giggling about?
I love how that voice, your voice just goes into shift. Meisterschaft.
I can't say it any other way. It's actually inbuilt within me. I can't say it any other way, I'm sorry. So, yeah, Heromarine going to have to send his SCV over. He's following this up with a Reaper. He wants to get himself a little bit of information.
Look at that probe. It's already getting ready to drop down its target here momentarily.
Yeah, this looks a bit precarious. Go for Pylon and then maybe follow that up with that Stargate later on. This is something that Terrans, you know, have had a little bit of problems with in the past, but for the most part, you know, there are good ways of being able to deal with it. We've seen a lot of Terrans throwing down, like, you know, having a very heavy barracks build to start things off to try and deal with it early on.
Yeah, I think Heromarine is going to be very thorough here. He's going to check all over the place, and if there is something out on the map, it's very likely they might be able to find it. Nexus is going to start there for Tarrantius, and I don't think he was mining gas with that many probes in the starts. Yeah, you see he's still on only 2 on one of those gases, so he might play to his image. You know, I talked about this. Imagine now he drops down like 1 forge and then goes for a robo as well and plays like super macro heavy. He's already got the Heromarine being super paranoid here about what's happening.
And in the end, the probe is just used for scouting, just to try and find out what's going on. Didn't really see the factory.
Yeah, I think he was probably able to realize that the factory was gonna be starting here very soon. In which case, you know, you just drop down the robo, get enough stalkers, and then you have the photon overcharge to work with as well.
Should be totally fine then. Should be totally fine. He's already got his mothership core on patrol to deny the Reaper from jumping up towards the main. But it won't be going in by the main. It'll be going down towards the natural, looking to just dive in around the corner. And because this Nexus is only just building right now, the Reaper can sit back here, and the Nexus has no vision for a long, long time. So the Stalker will have to position itself accordingly.
It's well placed enough that when that Reaper goes up, he's gonna start shooting at it here with the Stalker, but might be able to see the Twilight. Either way, here we go. Gonna be jumping into the main.
Yes, he does. Already finds it, clicks on it, and we'll try and dart on out. It's a little bit difficult to get out with the Stalker as well as Mothership Core chasing on down. And he will die off. But he got the information he needs, so he should be fine. One-way
trip for that Reaper. And behind this, we have the starport going down. It's gonna be a Widow Mine and Marine attack here in a second. Blink started. This is actually a build here. If Tarrantius was to just like drop down a few more gateways and go for a robo, this is a very, very good build that really has come back into fashion and done very well these days. T-Drogo, which is, by the way, how you say it, T-Drogo.
T-Drogo?
Yeah, it's like a shorter way to say petit.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, T-Drogo.
Like small Drogo.
He did really well recently at Asus in Finland. And the few games that he won against Tarran, there was, I think, 3 series in total or something like that. He beat Keen and stuff. He was playing with that build a lot. Yeah. He was going for a lot of Blink Stalkers, but he was playing aggressively. Like, look, you can already see a Forge going down here for Tarrantius. And in terms of additional gateways, he's only staying on 1, so it's going to be a bit different, I guess. But even defensively, like, this has so much potential, I think. Or getting cannons in the middle lines this early. I used to do this for some time, and like you cannot demolish your own economy doing this. It's so expensive. It's 300 minerals, with which he already should have been starting his gases. Look at this, no gases on the natural.
Yeah.
You need so much gas against Tarran to start everything. Colossus, upgrades.
So this has set everything back just a little bit,
Yeah.
really. And
More than just a little bit.
yeah, it does look a bit detrimental to him if it's not going to pay for itself.
Yeah.
But you know, the Widow Mine's coming along.
The thing is, you can defend him with just observers usually. So now even
Yeah.
with the cannon, like, I don't think it should be that easy to defend him. He's gonna have to pull probes and stuff. So it's a big investment, which in the end, I feel never really comes worth it.
Well, he does know his opponent quite well, does Tarrantius, having gone up against Heromarine a lot. Cleans that up very, very efficiently with the tools he has available to him. Doesn't really get anything killed off just there. But yeah, he is losing a lot of mining time.
The second gate was already dropped, and I'm pretty sure RoboBay is going to be starting very quickly there behind the Robo finishing. Starts an observer pretty much immediately there. And there we go with the RoboBay. Yeah. He's already got so many probes. I think Tarrantius should drop quite a few more gateways here already. Went up to 48 super fast, so he's well saturated across 2 bases. And we're going to see racks 4 and 5 here being dropped down.
Chrono Boost and him doing what he can. What a good way to actually open up the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, to have 2 national players from Germany here face off against one another. It's almost like a gate, like, can you defeat each other?
Gatekeeper?
Yeah, basically, gatekeepers, man. There's quite a few of them. To then see if you can propel yourself forward to fight international competition, and then later on, of course, the last boss, which is the Koreans.
Yeah, they definitely are the last boss. Who's the mini boss, though?
The mini boss?
A Frenchman?
Yes, yeah. T. Drogo. Small Drogo, right? He's the mini boss. All right, well, Observer's going to head on out towards the middle.
Is he going to scan? No, maybe didn't notice, wasn't paying attention. Like, that observer is going to be able to see that the racks 4th and 5 already started. We should already kind of expect 5 more gates, so he's going up to 7.
Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot.
He's been cutting probes here for quite some time. There is a chance that Tarrantius goes for a 2-base, but already when you have 53, usually you go for an Nexus no matter what. And he already has Blink. Keep that in mind. Like, he can shut down drops very easily.
Do you think Heromarine at the moment is in a safe spot with the 3rd base being on spot and how it is and how fast it is?
As long as he doesn't like steam in and lose everything, I think he's okay. He's just gonna be looking to apply pressure here, stay on the map, delay the 3rd base as much as possible, and maybe do a drop. But look at this.
Oh,
second starport is already on the way here for Heromarine, which I think is really good, because I don't think that Tarrantius will be cutting Colossus. He will be getting a lot of them, so there is a chance Heromarine just wants to pull SCVs in a moment when he has enough Vikings to deal with these Colossi.
I mean, especially if he senses the fact that that 3rd base is late. He doesn't even sense it. He sees it. He knows that it's not there around anytime soon. His army looks quite menacing on his opponent's side of the map at the moment for Heromarine. 75 army supply against 47. So Tarrantius has got a little bit of legwork to be doing here.
Even if he fights there, like Tarra, you can just spread, no Vikings.
Yeah.
Even.
Whoa. He saw the stalker position.
Yeah, you're not supposed to play super aggressive against Protoss on 2 bases, because you already got him confined on 2 bases.
Yeah, decides to just drop those, not take the big risk. Of course, Stalker's right spot, but...
He's going to do a timing. He never even attempted to take another base.
Yeah, he's got 1-1 at the moment.
He has something towards... Is that a pylon?
I think it might be the probe that's positioned forward.
No, across the map, like in front of the... Yeah, okay, so...
Yeah,
he wants to go for it. He's just started the 4th Colossi there. I think it is.
And how many Vikings do we have? 4 at the moment.
If he can catch this and kill quite a few, but... Oh, this is great. Heromarine being able to get out there. He's still going to have some map presence. He can counter-attack with this, or he can even sandwich from 2 sides. He's getting 4 Vikings at a time there right now. Tarrantius' timing is going to expire so fast.
Oh, gets himself some of these stalkers on the other side of this bush.
Whoa, actually killed one of his own.
Oh, Tarrantius, bit of a misclick there. Does kill off some of his own units. He's going to pick up everything and try and get away from this, realizing that the threat is very, very real with these pylons that he spotted on the retreat back.
What the hell was that, man? The mutinery.
It was, that wasn't the best, but unfortunately for Tarrantius now, he is going to be starting pushing forwards against quite a strong army. Again, 8 Vikings here, and there's going to be a lot more on the way very soon.
Heromarine going to need to split properly there, maybe pull some SCVs as well. If he can defend this, he's going to have won the game, because 3 orbitals. I don't think you can go for the 3rd base, but I guess if it snipes that, there is a chance Tarrantius can macro behind this. But he's already made so many stalkers, he's committed to taking a fight, I think.
Yeah, those
Does he force fields? Oh, he's gonna position pretty well.
They already got themselves a Colossus before the Colossi were even able to shoot there. Second one ends up going down. This army here for Heromarine is absolutely huge. as the third Colossus is going to fall very quickly. Likewise, the Mothership Core dies, and all the Vikings have to do is pursue on forwards. There's no way that's going to get away.
Yeah, Stalkers are trying to do what they can here, but they have to blink back every single time. The last Colossus that was with this army is going to die. There's another one now on the map trying to go back home right now in the middle of the map. And Templar Archives and the third bases have been dropped down here for Tarrantius.
Yeah.
He's going to need that transition ASAP. I don't think he started charge ever.
I mean, right now, there's nothing flashy Heromarine has actually done. He's just played his normal, stable macro game.
And he's about to press T.
Yes.
After pressing A and click.
And it's
there's nothing flashy and he's going to wreck him.
No, it's going to be very, very brutal. Tarrantius right now has not much to his name. He's trying to get out Storm. He's trying to get out High Templars for some extra AoE damage, which can work wonders, but...
So much more army supply.
Yeah. That's a big, big army there. That is a big army. And trying to get his third base up at this point, Tarrantius is really, really on the ropes here.
Yeah, he has to cancel the third, but I don't think he has enough sentries to force field that many times, so it's going to be one first wave and then actually maybe a second one. But is it enough, really? Having lost the Mothership Core, he's not going to have a photon of a charge to work with. If he can get Storm, he's probably still going to die, but he's going to have a chance to maybe hold this. I don't know, it looks really hard.
2 High Templars on the high
Storm
ground.
is closing in. Storm just completed.
Yeah, and he might be able to do something here with them, but he separates a few of those units up towards the front. They don't do too bad in terms of Storm. He needs to bring down these Vikings, and then that one Colossus will remain. Not too
the
bad
Stalkers
Storm
are not
either.
attacking for
Oh,
a lot
they
of
walk
them.
back into the Storm, and a lot of those Marines died off, but he doesn't have enough to buffer for this army, Todd.
Yeah, he's going to have to pull some probes there. The supply is plummeting very rapidly. Why did he drop down 4 more gates?
I don't know. This is going to be a bit difficult for him to really deal with. That's a very weak Terran army, but the thing is that nothing can really get to it. One more Viking tries to kill off this Colossus, but it survives with 8 HP.
Is he seriously going up to 11 gates on 2 bases?
Why not, man? It's like, you just need more gates, I guess. Just it's pretty
What?
crazy. It's pretty crazy. But I think all the money that was going into the Nexus is just like, well, you know, I've got to get more units out really, really fast, somehow, some way.
I think to win this, like Tarrantius, he needs like some insane storm drops to kill like a lot of SCVs and just 6 storms in general, which the army of Heromarine should be too big to lose to anyway, but I guess if he completely messes up, there is a chance. Look at this, charge is gonna start, plus 2 ground armor, and an immortal as well. So I think Tarrantius, he has every intention of expanding from there and then camping with a lot of High Templars to try and defend whatever is going to be thrown at him. Because he knows that there's going to be a follow-up attack there, no matter what.
Yeah, the ghosts coming out here is almost going to be the nail in the coffin for Tarrantius. They will power down those High Templars very quickly, and the thing is that Tarrantius doesn't really have much still to buffer for this army. Charge on the way, cool, yeah, but you need to have a lot of Zealots to be able to make that work against this kind of Bioforce, and right now he doesn't have that many at all, only 10 available to him.
Yeah, it's... I think if Tarrantius, like, if he was given the time to get like 7 High Templars, it becomes so much easier to like actually have potential to hold this, but now, having Ghosts, Heromarine, assuming he doesn't completely mess up, he scans and snipes, or even EMPs some of these High Templars. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah. Going to push through the middle of the map with a maxed out army here is Heromarine, and Tarrantius somehow needs to buy some time. Somehow, some way would need to buy time, but it's going to be very, very difficult against this kind of force, especially when he's trying to set up a third as well and defend it. There needs to be an overextension or something from Heromarine, surely.
Yeah, he needs to basically get showered in the storm there. I don't think it's gonna happen. He's got to go forward, gonna go for the snipe, but get stormed before. Not a big deal though. This is gonna get healed over time.
Yeah, there's not that too many Vikings here, but still probably quite enough to slowly start picking away at this. Blinks forwards with the Stalkers, trying to focus down some of those units. But at the same time, some of that bio even got on top of those Colossi there to the left-hand side. There's not about a Storm to actually do some damage to those Vikings, but there's no AoE damage left here for Protoss. The Vikings are going to land. Force fields are trying to keep this out and at bay.
There's some units in the natural actually kind of wrecking his economy there.
Yeah, and there was just a few more Zealots to warp in and help that out, but
24 probes have died.
he's divided and conquered. He's 100 supply up. Heromarine here in game number 1 with just pure macro focus alone, really. GG. Game number 1 goes to Heromarine. And that was a very, very strong showing for him to start things off here in this game.
Yeah, didn't even break a sweat. Easy peasy. Just, yeah, went for his double starport, made it on Vikings, and had a nice hold, I guess, because like I said, Tarrantius, I feel like at the same time, it's probably his best shot to try to go for this kind of build to do well, but you expect it if you're a Heromarine. And he saw it coming, and he had enough. He had more than enough against this attack.
Really knew where he was at every stage in that game by the looks of things, and it did show. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a short break, and when we're back, it is going to be game number 2 between Heromarine and Tarrantius. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters, as we're going to be getting into game number 2. Heromarine looked fantastic in that first one. Just really very, very well ironed play. Similar to Todd's shirt. Very, very well played and very, very well orchestrated. There was no creases, Todd. No creases.
Yeah, what about you?
That's why I said your shirt, not mine.
Oh, it is, though. It's not...
What? It's beautiful.
It's not very well ironed. It's not ironed at all. That's why I'm wearing a jacket. True story.
All right. Well, obviously, Tarrantius is going to have to kind of just smoothen out his play here going into the next game.
I think, like I said, like trying to kind of fake that he was going to macro failed this time. So maybe this time he actually goes for it, or he needs to do something a little bit more aggressive. He missed his timing in the previous game. Felt kind of like of.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that. Maybe he tries something a bit more aggressive here. Maybe he tries to catch Heromarine off guard in this series. But we're getting into it. Game number 2 now, as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner. It is our blue Protoss up against the wall. It is Tarrantius. We'll see if he can pull it back here against a player that he has played a lot against in the ESL Meisterschaft. As we have spawned down to the bottom left-hand corner, it's a champion of the national here, or a previous champion representing Team Mousesports. It is Heromarine, a true Meisterschaft veteran.
Pushing it too far, man.
Well, I love saying the word.
Yeah,
It's
you
fantastic.
say it well.
Thanks.
On this map, being cross-map, I feel like if Tarrantius was to try and play, you know, into a third base and a little bit more defensive and macro, definitely would help the fact that it's cross-map, even though, you know, drops can be scary. It's going to take longer for Tarran to actually get across there, and with a few well-placed observers, you're going to be able to do okay. Now, does he actually want to try something like that? Well, I guess we're going to have to see, because he goes for the same scout as in last game right after Gateway, and now it's all going to be about, does he drop one single assimilator or 2 again?
I think your analysis of the initial way this series could play out was definitely on point. Show something in the first game, don't necessarily kind of go super cheesy off it, but then show similar in the second game, and then try and bring out something pretty a bit more aggressive. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah.
I think actually it's risky to say that, because usually with Protoss it's like show something similar in the second game, and then as much as you're supposed to macro, you just kind of cheese anyway because you're Protoss, so...
I see.
Only one single assimilator here so far for Tarrantius. He's gonna get a second scout, much like for Heromarine. Oh, I mean, of course, they're cross-map. Nobody scouts cross-map. Almost.
Do you think that if Tarrantius had played a bit more greedy in essence? I mean, you brought up the idea of the cannons being quite the investment early on in the previous game. If you think he'd had his rowboat earlier and just had
absolutely, yeah. He missed his timing. Like the third Colossi was out super late. There was already like Vikings being made 4x4. And it just slowed down everything. It was just bad altogether. Like he made way too many probes as well. When you do a 2-base, you need to be on 44, 45, maybe 46. He was on 53 probes.
Mm-hmm.
But just not a very good build.
Okay.
And that's coming from me.
The true build master. Well, he's already set himself his Nexus before second assimilator, so he's already trying to like cut a few corners here, which can help him out.
Well, I mean, this is more the standard build.
Yeah.
Like usually you don't get second assimilator unless you want to do something special or fake it. And the second probe was sent out, which Heromarine saw with his SCV, and he's gonna find.
Oh my, nicely done here by Heromarine to be able to find that. Make sure
the location he was sending it to kind of tells me maybe he wanted to drop down a Dark Shrine down there. Double command center behind this, by the way. Like another one just started there for Heromarine, so he's going full greedy.
Yeah, and
It's
even
actually-
pulled off gas for that.
This is so hard to play against if you don't know that it's happening. Because if it's happening, you either play super greedy yourself or you're all in. But in this case, there is no way for Tarrantius to know. He's not going to send his mothership core across the map and see it. He's not going to open Oracle, so he's not going to know. So he's kind of going to play standard, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And you fall very far behind economically. And then the Terran just completely outproduces you in the mid game and kills you.
That's a really good
with
point.
a lot of units.
Because the thing is that even if you eventually get a robo, the observer, especially in these spawning locations, is going to get over there so slowly anyway.
Yeah.
Off the back of not having the information prior, and it can get really, really snowball.
Usually when you observe flies in and you see the third orbital, your mind is like, oh, come on.
the
Not
tilt
again.
begins.
Not again.
Well, Forge is on the way here for Tarrantius, which, you know, it might end up going towards the cannons again. If you see the pylon in the mineral line towards the natural, that's positioned in such a way that I wouldn't be surprised if we actually saw cannons again quite quickly.
Yeah. Where's that probe going, though? On the top left-hand side. Is he going to drop down a Stargate there? Because he was going to do that. Like, he sent the probe earlier to that same location, but on the bottom right-hand side instead.
I've got it. Sneaky third base.
I don't
It'd
think
be crazy.
I don't think you sent it there, but maybe. I was thinking more maybe a Stargate.
Well, there's the cannons in the mineral lines, so he's really careful about these Widowmine drops. And he drops the scan, sees the cannon, and Heromarine behind all of this.
He's probably pretty happy. He opened
Yeah.
3 CC, and then there's a Protoss that's making 1 cannon per mineral line.
Yeah.
That's actually, I think, Heromarine, he picked up on the fact that Tarrantius opens like this, and that's probably the best build that you can do against a Protoss that opens cannons like this. He's making that use less static defense. That's actually, like, I guess, decent against Widowmine drops or harassment. And you go 3 CCs, like you're the happiest guy ever. Look at this. That pylon on the top left-hand side is warping in sentries. He's gonna drop down 4 more gates. He's gonna be a big gateway attack, which might actually hit at a time when it could do something. Because against 3 command centers like this, the units, the bio production is not gonna be that massive. It was only 2 barracks for Heromarine there, so he's not gonna have actually that much bio. And if you get a bunch of sentries like Tarrantius is doing, they build up an energy and then you do the attack, you're actually going to be in a very good setup to do a lot of damage, maybe even kill a Terran.
Is hiding the sentry warpins really far away quite clever? Because if Heromarine saw a load of sentries at the front, maybe he'd be like, wait a minute, what are you up to here?
Yeah, it's very important that the Terran does not see this coming, because otherwise he gets enough bunkers. Actually, Heromarine, does he send out an SCV right now? That Stalker at the front is a little bit of a tell. Usually you don't poke like this. He starts turrets. Luckily for Tarrantius, it's not a Stargate. And he actually, this is really scary there. There is a very good chance like this might kill Heromarine or do a lot of damage. He's gonna have to go into his main, barely defend with a few SCVs and then get the clutch win. I'm calling it, Kailaris.
The clutch win. Well, we already said, that Tarrantius has to do something a bit more aggressive here, maybe against Heromarine, who did look well set up, well prepared.
We go.
And
he needs to move off the ramp, I think. I don't think he can defend down there, even if he pulls SCVs, but he might try to anyway.
Might try and divide some of these units up. There's the stim, though, actually. That's quite a strong bioforce here, with the SCVs in tow.
These force fields were horrendous.
They did nothing.
You were supposed to trap the army and kill it ASAP there when it's like this.
And now, I mean, since he's bought some more time here, the Bioforce, technically with every stim, is getting a little bit weaker, but it's still very strong. He's going to try and block things off with the factory.
Now he's trying to go for the army, but look at this. The positioning from Heromarine here is quite good.
Oh, and he can't walk up the ramp. That's suicide. So this is quite interesting here by Heromarine. He's basically made bunkers out of the buildings he's using.
Tarrantius needs to be doing damage now. He's going to be trading here a little bit, trying to get some more of those Marines. Medivacs are out now.
Yeah, and
This was horrible.
That timing window is rapidly decreasing because of the medevacs that are here.
Dark Shrine, man. When this fails, you go Dark Shrine.
Well, there's the Twilight Council. He's getting the Robo Bay as well, and he has gone back into pro production for a little bit. But there's nothing you can do.
He might force field, yeah. You turn around against this.
Well, he's got to try something, because all those units having stim is going to just continue to chase them down. Good saves there by Heromarine. Yeah. Picks up some of those units and just gets them away from the Zealots, and that was a great trade for him.
Yeah, much better. And behind his Tarrantius actually block one of his probes in. He's gonna try to... he failed!
No.
He tried to squeeze it out.
Poor little guy will just be on patrol for now.
He can, maybe if he makes a gas between the assimilator and Robo Bay, maybe he can get out. But right now, Heromarine is gonna be very comfortable to fly to his third base, take it, and Immortal's on the way, blink as well. Tarrantius in a lot of trouble.
How much damage does he even have on an output of an army to deal with this kind of big drop that could potentially
He has a
hit?
lot of gate units and an immortal and like photon overcharge, so maybe he can deal with this first wave, but when the new wave comes in with enough medivacs and stuff, it's gonna be really, really hard for him to even fight if he was to stay on 2 bases. So I don't even want to imagine him trying to go up to 3 bases.
Well, he's already found himself some guaranteed damage. Basically, he's actually going to go for the Robo Facility, and if he gets that, that's no Colossi to speak of just yet to deal with the oncoming wave. And as you said, you know, Heromarine opened up with a very, very greedy build to start, so his macro is going to be flying again.
How exactly did Tarrantius beat Heromarine last time they played? Because right now it's looking like Heromarine, he's toying with his food, Kailash.
It must have been a bit aggressive. Maybe Heromarine was having a bit of a harder day. But
Maybe he was like you, he was a little bit under the weather.
Thanks. Well, I'm always under the weather, man. I'm British. There's always rain. It's okay. I'm okay with that. This third base will finish up. Oh, well, I mean, it's been going for quite a while. It's been well sustained here by Heromarine. A little bit of a supply block.
The
but
Desperation Templar Archives is going to come into play.
there's been a few of those desperation transitions here in this game, unfortunately, for Tarrantius.
Sadly for Tarrantius, death is marching towards him. And with Heromarine being on 3 bases, I mean, even if he throws away this army to trade it against Tarrantius' army, it's going to be worth it. I think he might just be able to kill him anyway. A Colossus just restarted. He sees the army, he just teams in there immediately. He's like, oh, you're dead.
Yeah, very little to his name. Even if he tried to hold off against this at the front, these units could easily be picked up here by Heromarine. He's controlling his Northern Medevac very, very carefully, just to make sure that he's going to save those units at the front.
I don't know why he's pulling back.
He's got a
Probably
4th
just
base on the way. Wow. Marine, he is looking on point right now. On point.
I don't think Tarrantius is ever going to be able to get charged this game. He's already broke on gas here on 2 bases. He's trying to get Storm and getting Colossus at the same time. I don't know how that's going to work out. Look at this. Heromarine maxed out at 15 minutes there. It's going to be dropping in the main and attacking the same time elsewhere. The Stalkers, actually, they are close by.
Yeah.
Get a snipe. Oh, yeah.
Big army still moving across the map. He's taking another
He's going to drop on top of the army and come in from the other side.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, it's very, very difficult to deal with this. He could even get that Colossus very quickly with that bio little army that he's dropped on in. The force fields are holding off to the left-hand side, and actually the Colossus keeps its life for now, but Heromarine doesn't even care. He will just plow through those gateway units.
Totally forgot about the photon overcharge as well, but it won't matter.
Colossus taking some damage up towards the left. Storm's going to litter the field, but in the end, this is too much bioforce here for him, as Heromarine, one of the true Meisterschaft champions, is going to be able to take the first victory here in this open bracket. GG, Mr. Heromarine, showing his worth.
Did very well there. Very well conducted, I guess, series. The third command center a little bit greedy, but if you can get away with it, I mean, it's great of a build to go for, and he will move on to the winners bracket semi-finals there to face either Black Cat or Mana. Oh, he's probably pretty happy about the 3 CCs.
Yeah.
Whereas all the Protosses in the world were watching and they were like, oh god, like, how do you counter this thing? Actually, to be honest, I really feel like that build that Tarrantius blindly went for, he could have done well, but he had to go for the army immediately and snipe it. Not let the army go up the ramp. That's very important. And I don't know what he did, really. Like, failed the force fields, didn't go for the army, and then behind this, he was always going to be in trouble.
Oh, well. He does have another shot, of course, here in the open brackets, does Tarrantius, as there is a lower portion of the open bracket in each of them. But for now, we are done here. We're going to hear from the winner advancing on. It will be Heromarine over at the desk.
Thank you very much, Clarice and Todd. Average casting as always. Joining us now, we do have Heromarine. Congratulations on a good start to the open bracket here. Just going to go straight into it. Pretty easy victory for you there. No troubles so far?
I had some thoughts about his playstyle in the first game. Like, he likes to play aggressively after he plays very defensively. Mm-hmm. That basically means that he tried to blind counter my Widowmine drop. Since he went into Twilight and Forge, that means he will not have any scouting out in time for like a 3 command center build. That's also the reason why I went for it in the second game. Yep. And yeah, everything went like I expected it to go. So yeah, I feel like
Tricks.
it was pretty easy, but in the first game I was a bit scared at some moments.
I mean, apart from that, so 2-0, are you expecting this group, or bracket, should I say, to go in your favor? Are you looking at this like, I should go through, shouldn't really have any difficulties today? You look at it that way, or do you actually see, well, this could be difficult? Because I know there's patience in there, which could be obviously very tricky, but what are your thoughts on the bracket?
I've always a very negative way of thinking. I'm like optimistic, but I'm also realistic.
Yep.
That means, of course, there's patience, and I have just played him at the Home Story Cup, and I lost very convincingly. So I don't expect to beat him, but I still feel like I can make it into the group stage.
Okay. Munglet?
Just back to the games for a sec. In game number 1, were you expecting like a 2-base all-in like he did at all? Because you were moving around the map, you were kind of in a good position for a counter-attack, but then he just kind of moved out with his whole army and found you. Were you expecting that at all?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was expecting that. That's also why I tried to deny his third base, because he likes to put down a fake third. So yeah, it was a bit risky. But at home, I went into 2 star pods,
Right.
which basically sets me up for a worker pool, which is, yeah, the scenario is basically the all-inner, all-ins, the all-inner. And I was the one who was defensive at that moment.
Yeah, you played it very smiley. Is this the kind of the style he played last time? Was he defeated you like maybe like a month ago?
Yeah, I
Was
remember.
that the same sort of style, like super aggressive, all-inish kind of style?
I think so, but in those EPS or ESLM cups, I don't really play seriously.
Okay.
I try to save up strategies for the playoffs, for the EPS. For this reason, I forgot about that game or that series, because I was playing pretty greedy at that time, and he played similar.
Where would you, it's a bit of a question outside of the games. So everyone looks at the German scene, quite a few decent players here. Where do you rank yourself in the German scene? 1, 2, 3, where are you? Personally, you look at yourself like, Kung Fu Panda's pretty good, Tilo's pretty good, there's a couple of other players like Glambo, very good. Where do you see yourself?
I don't think you can say like he is the best German, but I feel like I'm among the best, I think. Since like players like TLO don't play the German championship, so you don't get to see them there.
Yeah.
That makes it a bit useless, the German championship that is. For this reason, I feel like Germany has quite a lot of solid players, and I think I'm one of them. You can see that in the WCS this year.
That's right, Premier League. So looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck in your next game. We're going to be going to a very quick commercial break in a second and set up for the second game. But before that, make sure to check out plays.tv for all the action you've missed, or maybe you're going to miss in the future. Plays.tv has all the action, all the games, and all the highlights from the Intel Extreme Masters here. We'll be right back.